All right, get ready. Because today we're diving deep into this whole third eye activation thing.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to try to figure out what it is, how to do it, and how it can, change your life.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, well, our source material is this excerpt from a text called There's No Going Back, Instant Third Eye Activation.
Whoa,
So yeah, pretty strong point of view there.
definitely. Just that title kind of makes you think about like a total shift you can't undo, right?
Yeah, like there's no going back once you've seen it.
Exactly.
Very dramatic. But okay, before we get too far, let's back up a sec. What are we even talking about when we say third eye?
Right. Good point. It's
Yeah.
not like suddenly you get superpowers or anything.
Oh, too bad.
Haha. It's more like reaching a deeper level of seeing things. In a lot of spiritual traditions, it's connected to the Ajna chakra, that energy center in your forehead between the eyebrows.
Ah, okay. So less about X-ray vision and more about understanding the world differently.
Exactly. It's about seeing with more clarity, understanding how everything's connected. The source uses this metaphor. They say, trying to go back to your old ways after activating the third eye. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's like once you've expanded your awareness, there's no going back to that limited view.
Makes sense. That really emphasizes how this is like a huge shift, not just a small tweak in how you think.
Right, exactly. And the text keeps saying this awakening is both exciting, AD challenging.
So what makes it so tough then?
Well, one thing is that third eye activation often brings you face to face with some uncomfortable truths.
Ooh, that's never fun.
Yeah, about yourself and the world. It's like seeing through illusions and confronting your own limits. It can really shake up your ego.
So it's not all just mystical powers and seeing pretty colors.
Nope. You got to face the shadow side too.
Wow, okay, but the text says that facing these truths is actually freeing in the end.
Right. Because then you can break out of those old patterns holding you back and step into a more authentic.
Okay, I see that. And that kind of leads to a question for you listening. What in your life might be blocking you from this kind of transformation? Like, what illusions or limiting beliefs are you holding on to?
That's a good one.
Yeah, something to think about. But let's get practical for a minute. How do we actually activate this third eye? The text mentions a bunch of different techniques.
Yeah, it's like a whole toolkit for expanding awareness. One of the main tools they highlight is meditation. Specifically, this technique called tritaka, or candle gazing.
Candle gazing, how does that even work?
It's pretty simple, but powerful. You sit in a dim room with a candle at eye level and stare at the flame without blinking,
For how long?
as long as you can comfortably hold it. When your eyes start to water, you close them and focus on that after image of the flame,
Yeah.
right between your eyebrows where the Ajna chakra is.
Almost like you're pulling the energy of the flame inward.
Yeah, good way to picture it.
Yeah.
This practice helps you focus, quiet your mind, and awaken that inner vision.
So it's not just zoning out, but actively directing your attention to cultivate a specific kind of awareness.
You got it. And another technique they emphasize is the power of affirmations.
Ah, yes, affirmations. I've heard about those, but I'm always kind of skeptical. How can just repeating positive statements actually make a difference?
Well, the idea is that by saying them over and over, you're basically reprogramming your subconscious mind.
Hmm.
Replacing those limiting beliefs with ones that empower you. Align yourself with that third eye energy.
So you're consciously picking the thoughts you want to focus on instead of letting your mind wander aimlessly.
Exactly. And the text gives a few affirmations specifically for activating the third eye, like, I trust my intuition, or I see clearly with my inner vision, even I am connected to the wisdom of the universe.
I can see how repeating those phrases, really feeling them, could start to change how you see things.
For sure. And along with affirmations, they also talk about visualization.
Okay, now I'm really curious, what kind of visualization?
For this, you'd picture this vibrant indigo light right in the middle of your forehead, radiating out and filling you up with clarity and insight. The key is to really use all your senses, not just seeing the light, but feeling its warmth, its energy like it's expanding.
So it's like creating a vivid experience in your mind, almost like a waking dream.
Yeah, exactly. You're activating the Ajna chakra and imprinting that third eye energy on your subconscious.
That makes sense. It's like you're planting a seed and then helping it grow with your focused attention. And of course, we can't forget breathing. Breathing is like the foundation of so many spiritual practices.
Totally. The text specifically mentions Nadi Shohana, which is alternate nostril breathing. You gently close one nostril with your thumb, inhale through the other, then switch sides and exhale through the opposite nostril. It's supposed to balance your energy and create this calm clarity, which is essential for accessing those deeper levels of awareness.
So it's not just about getting more oxygen, but
Yeah.
actually using the breath to harmonize your energy, getting you ready for those subtle perceptions.
Exactly. And speaking of subtle perceptions, the text also suggests keeping a dream journal.
Ah, yeah, the world of dreams. Always so mysterious and fascinating. But how does a dream journal connect to the third eye?
Well, the third eye is often linked to intuition and insight, and dreams are a direct connection to your subconscious mind, which is full of untapped wisdom. By paying attention to your dreams and writing them down, you can start to see patterns, symbols, messages that you might have missed otherwise.
It's like you become your own dream interpreter, figuring out the language of your subconscious.
Exactly. And here's the interesting part. The text goes beyond just those spiritual practices and says a healthy lifestyle is also important for activating the third eye. What you put into your body and how you take care of yourself can have a big impact on your energy and your ability to access those higher states of consciousness.
So it's not just about meditation and visualization, but also about nourishing your physical body. What kind of foods do they recommend?
They mention a whole range of things, like raw cacao, goji berries, garlic, lemon, watermelon star, anise, honey, and coconut oil. They say these foods have specific properties that can enhance third eye activation.
It's like a third eye diet.
Right. But it's not just what you eat. They also talk about minimizing toxins.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not just about the physical stuff, though, right? The source also talked about minimizing toxins.
Right. And it's not just environmental toxins either. It's also being mindful of the information you take and the people you spend time with, even the thoughts you allow in your mind.
So it's like a mental and emotional detox, too.
Exactly. You're creating a clear, supportive inner space where your third eye can really flourish. And speaking of environment, they also talk about spending time in nature.
Oh, yeah, nature. Such a great way to escape the stress and chaos of life. But how does that connect to third eye activation?
Well, nature has a way of grounding you, calming your nervous system, and connecting you to something bigger than yourself. Whether you're walking in the woods, gardening, or just sitting under a tree, being in nature helps to quiet the mind and open up your senses to more perceptions.
It's like nature becomes a mirror reflecting back this sense of peace, interconnectedness, and wonder.
Exactly. As you start integrating all these practices, the meditations, the affirmations, the healthy lifestyle, the time in nature, the source says you'll start to experience subtle but profound changes in your awareness.
Okay, so now we've laid the groundwork and talked about some techniques.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to hear more about those changes. What kind of experiences and insights can we expect from activating the third eye?
That's a great question and something we'll dive into in the next part of our deep dive.
Definitely stay tuned for that.
It's going to be good.
Okay, so last time we got into some of the key techniques for activating the third eye.
Right. Yeah.
Now I want to know what happens after. What kind of changes can we expect, like in how we perceive and experience the world when this third eye opens up?
Well, according to our source, one of the first things you might notice is this heightened sense of intuition.
Like a gut feeling.
It's more than that. It's described as a knowing without needing to reason it out. You just know.
So how does that affect our daily life, like making decisions or dealing with people?
The source says it can make you more confident in your choices. You're not second-guessing yourself as much because you're more in tune with your inner guidance. And in relationships, you might feel a stronger connection and empathy, like you're picking up on those unspoken needs and feelings.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. What else might we notice as our third eye opens?
They also talk about an increased sensitivity to energy, specifically the ability to see auras.
Okay, I know this might sound kind of far out, but I've always been interested in auras. What exactly are they? And how would seeing them be different with an activated third eye?
They describe auras as these subtle energy fields around all living things, and they reflect our emotional, mental, and spiritual state, each one with its own unique color and pattern. With an activated third eye, you might start to perceive them more vividly, seeing shimmering colors or even just feeling them as sensations.
So not everyone's walking around with halos above their heads.
Uh-huh. No, not quite. It's more about understanding these subtle energy patterns and shifts.
So it's like gaining access to a whole new layer of information about everything around us.
Exactly. Which can be really helpful in understanding the dynamics in relationships and social situations.
That makes sense. It's like having this extra sense. But the text goes even further, right? They mention visions and messages from the spiritual realm.
Yeah, and this is where things get really mystical. They present these experiences seeing things during meditation, hearing inner voices, having super vivid symbolic dreams as ways to receive guidance from a higher power. Whether that's your higher self spirit, guides the universe, whatever you believe in.
So it's about trusting that we can get guidance and inspiration from beyond the physical world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the text is really clear about needing discernment.
Yeah.
Not every random thought or image is a divine message.
Yeah, got to filter out the noise somehow.
Right. It's about learning to tell the difference between your ego talking and your intuition or higher self speaking.
So developing a stronger inner compass, trusting your gut, but also using your critical thinking.
You got it. Now, all these experiences sound intense and transformative,
Yeah.
but the text also says it's important to stay grounded.
So how do we integrate these expanded perceptions into daily life without getting lost in the clouds?
They emphasize staying connected to the earth and your physical body. Things like spending time in nature, walking barefoot, doing grounding activities like yoga or tai chi.
Ah, so it's about balancing those expanded perceptions with a strong sense of being present in your body.
Exactly. It's not about escaping reality, but becoming more present in your body and the world around you.
I like that. And what about self-care? Does the text mention that
Oh, absolutely. It
it's
says
not
as you're going through these changes, it's super important to make sure you're eating well, getting enough rest, and doing things that nourish you mentally, physically, and spiritually.
even spiritual awakenings can take a lot out of you?
Right. You got to respect your human needs, even while exploring the mystical stuff. What about relationships? How do you think they might be affected by third eye activation?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Well, the text suggests that some relationships will naturally deepen and become more meaningful, while others might just fade away. It's like this pruning process. As you change and grow, certain connections just don't resonate anymore.
So it's about trusting that the right people will stay and the ones who aren't meant for your journey will naturally drift away.
Exactly. It's about embracing change and trusting the flow of life.
Yeah.
And through all these shifts, the text highlights one of the most beautiful gifts of third eye activation, this deep inner peace.
Like a sense of calm even when things are chaotic.
It's more than just calm. It's knowing that you're connected to something bigger than yourself. This sense of belonging and purpose that goes beyond the ups and downs of life.
So less about chasing external things and more about finding that peace from within.
Yes. It's aligning with your higher self and realizing that true peace comes from that connection.
Mm.
But it's not just about personal peace. It's also realizing how interconnected everything is, which makes you want to help others.
So how does that actually play out in real life? What does it look like to put these third eye insights into action?
That's a great question, and it's what we're going to get into in the last part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've talked about what the third eye is and some wild experiences it can unlock.
Definitely some mind-bending stuff.
But now the big question, how do we actually use this in everyday life? It's one thing to have these mystical insights, but how do we put them into practice?
Yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah.
The text talks a lot about aligning your actions with your higher self.
Like living in a way that reflects your deepest values and the truths you've discovered through this whole third eye process.
Exactly. It's not just talking the talk, you got to walk the walk, but that can feel kind of overwhelming. Where do you even start?
Right. It all sounds a bit abstract.
The source says to begin with, clear intentions.
Okay.
Think about how you want to show up in different areas, like your relationships, your work, your personal growth. Ask yourself, what energy do I want to bring? What impact do I want to make?
So get specific with those intentions, not just vague hopes, but concrete goals and actions.
Right. And as you're navigating this new way of being, remember how third eye activation makes you more sensitive to energy.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Well, now you can be more choosy about where you direct your energy and attention.
So pay attention to what drains you and focus on things that feel good and align with your values.
Exactly. Surround yourself with positive influences, the people you hang out with, the stuff you watch and read, even your own thoughts. And that leads us to setting boundaries.
Oh, yeah. Boundaries. I always struggle with those. But I get why they're important, especially now.
As you become more sensitive to energy, you're also more open to energy vampires. Setting boundaries is like putting up a shield to protect yourself and your own growth.
So learning to say no, even if it feels uncomfortable or you might disappoint someone.
Right, because every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to something that nourishes you. You're honoring yourself and your path.
Creating a safe space for yourself, both inside and out. And the text also mentions gratitude.
Gratitude is so powerful. It shifts your whole perspective from scarcity to abundance. You start focusing on the good stuff instead of what's missing.
It's like rewiring your brain to see the world through a lens of appreciation.
Exactly. And they suggest simple things like keeping a gratitude journal, listing things you're thankful for each day, or just taking a minute to reflect on your blessings.
Little things can make a big difference. And speaking of making a difference, the text also talks about acts of kindness and service.
It's a natural progression. When you experience interconnectedness, you feel compassion and want to help others.
It's not about what you get, but what you give.
Right. These acts can be big or small. Volunteering your time, offering a kind word to someone who's down, it all creates a ripple effect of positivity.
Like we're channeling that loving energy from our third eye. And they mention creativity, too.
Yeah, the third eye is linked to imagination and inspiration. When you open this energy center, you might feel drawn to creative things like art, music, writing, dance. It's a way to express your inner wisdom and share your gifts with the world.
That creative energy that was bottled up can finally flow.
Exactly. And in the end, the text reminds us that third eye activation is a journey. It's not a destination. It's about constantly learning, growing, and evolving.
Always discovering more about yourself.
Right, so I'll leave you with this. If
Yeah.
you could see clearly with your third eye, what would you want to see in your own life? What truths are waiting to be revealed? What possibilities are calling to you?
What a great question to think about. And remember, even if you can't literally see with your third eye, you can still cultivate that inner vision, that intuition that guides you to your full potential. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. May your journey of self-discovery be filled with wonder and insight.